I'm usually pretty chill about people disagreeing with me. However, one thing I absolutely do not tolerate in people is their smug beliefs that their opinions are objective fact and or someone else's opinions don't matter. Today, I'd like to discuss a recent encounter I had with such a person. What's up guys, Acerthorn here, and welcome to another rant video about yet another self-entitled prick. I've done quite a few of these types of videos in the past, where I get angry at a self-entitled asshole, so if you'd like to see more of them, hit that subscribe button to stay notified. Today, I'm talking about a guy who runs a YouTube channel called ViolentLee. He's an actual game developer, and I first discovered him shortly after the release of WWE 2K20, when he provided some rather insightful commentary into the backstage politics that led to WWE 2K20 being the broken mess that it is. However, as many of you wrestling game fans are no doubt aware, the PR shitstorm for WWE 2K20 is not over yet, because on New Year's Day, a bug was discovered that caused the game to stop working when the year switched to 2K20. This bug has been affectionately named the Y2K20 bug, since it seems awfully similar to the old Y2K conspiracy theories back at the turn of the millennia. Now, you wouldn't know this from the numerous online critics who are bitching and moaning about this bug, but the bug has been patched, and it has been for a long time. In fact, 2K released a tweet telling gamers that the patch was out literally less than 12 hours after the bug was discovered. Less than 12 hours! This, ladies and gentlemen, is what so many internet critics are complaining about. An honest mistake that 2K made with this game and then corrected so quickly, many internet critics were not even able to get their videos out before the patch was released. This is what so many people are using as evidence of complete utter incompetence from 2K. Enter ViolentLee, who decided to weigh in on the issue about a week after the patch came out. Talk about being late to the party. Anyway, in this video he included the following line.
When a company, let's say Toyota, let's say they mess up and they lied about their miles per gallon mileage, the heads of that company will show up on TV, they will get down on their knees and they will bow. Tears will be shed by them and they will apologize. Is it a show? Maybe it's a show, but it's an act of responsibility, of remorse. What have we gotten from 2K so far? Well, some people are having some issues, we're aware of that. You're aware of that if you just pick up the game and play it, okay?
Well, I decided I'd post a comment, informing him that the patch for this problem has been out for a while now. It was corrected almost as quickly as it was discovered. The level of smug self-entitlement coming from ViolentLee just put my jaw on the floor. The man completely scoffed at the news that the bug had been patched, claiming that it was still a shit stain on this game's legacy that the bug even happened in the first place. Later, he went back and re-edited his comment to include an analogy about a guest in your house being completely naked therein without the homeowner's permission, which is just wrong? A completely wrong and completely unjustified comparison. There is a huge difference between a video game having an honest-to-goodness bug that the game developers did not anticipate and with reasonable prudence could not have anticipated, since the bug was dependent on a time in the Gregorian calendar that literally hadn't occurred by the time the game was released, which they then proceeded to patch up less than 12 hours after the bug was discovered, and a blatant act of not giving a damn about someone else's rights or feelings while intentionally using the fact that the error was eventually corrected as a crutch to avoid all accountability and responsibility despite all the harm it caused before you eventually got around to correcting your blatant and malicious actions. To say that those two things are even remotely the same thing is utter, complete horse shit. And I called him out on said bullshit. Anyone can make a mistake. I absolutely despise anyone who either does bad things on purpose or refuses to correct their mistakes when the mistakes are brought to their attention. But in the case of the Y2K20 bug, the latter is demonstrably false, and there is not even the slightest shred of evidence of the former. Well, apparently, this guy is completely incapable of simply agreeing to disagree. So instead, he fires back by listing off his former credentials in game design and game journalism, as if that makes him some sort of a big shot, and accuses me of smack-talking him. Oh, you want me to smack-talk you? You want me to smack-talk you? I can smack-talk you if you want. Cue the fiery music. First of all, do I have any experience as a game developer? Do I have any experience as a game journalist aside from the occasional news that I talk about on this channel? No, I don't have either of those things. However, I do not need them. I may not know how to make a video game, but I do know an asshole when I see one. Second, if you really are an 8-year veteran of game journalism, how is it you haven't yet learned that journalists are supposed to report the news accurately? It only took me about 2 minutes to learn that about your profession. A quick Google search for the Journalism Code of Ethics yields a webpage from the Society of Professional Journalists. Literally, the first section of this Code of Ethics talks about how important it is to report the news accurately and to not be misleading or oversimplifying in your coverage. So, why are you posting a video talking about the Y2K20 bug as if it were still ongoing, knowing full well that it has been patched up? Oh, and where's your journalistic due diligence where you failed to correct this mistake and acknowledge that a patch has already been released once the patch was brought to your attention? Oh wait, you aren't actually doing that. You're instead scoffing at the guy who's bringing this mistake to your attention instead of doing your job as a game journalist and correcting the error and acknowledging that you made a mistake. Then again, I kind of understand where you're coming from. If you were to actually admit fault and correct the mistake, you would be essentially admitting that 2K is not deserving of nearly as much ridicule as they're getting in this case, because that's essentially what they themselves did, corrected a mistake. So the best way to avoid looking like a fucking hypocrite is to act like you never made this mistake in the first place, because that's the only way 2K gets to look incompetent while you do not simultaneously come off as equally incompetent because they were guilty of the same thing, making the mistake in the first instance even if it really was an honest mistake that was promptly corrected. And third, I don't give a damn about your credentials. I may not have any formal credentials in game design, but that doesn't matter. As consumers, it is literally the complete opposite of our responsibility in a capitalist economy to simply sit back, shut up, and ingurgitate whatever bullshit the corporations give us because they have quote-unquote credentials, which means that we, as consumers, don't know shit, and we can either accept that like the bitches that we are, or get the fuck out. As consumers in a capitalist economy, it is our responsibility to do the exact opposite, to challenge, to question, to make the companies justify their products to us, to make the companies earn our money. Now, That being said, has 2K earned our money with WWE 2K20? Overall, no. I would have to say that they have not. It was rushed, buggy, and the My Career mode really was the only part of the game that seemed like it had any love put into it. But, in the specific instance of the Y2K20 bug, I have to give 2K the benefit of the doubt. I wholeheartedly do not believe in the attitude of X game company that I associate with bad things did Y thing that kind of sort of resembles a bad thing, so I automatically, as a knee-jerk reaction, assume that X game company necessarily did Y thing intentionally and maliciously. That kind of attitude about a game is absolute horse manure. So, Mr. ViolentLee, please go violently fuck yourself. And now that I've gotten that off my chest, I guess I am Acer Thorn, and as Jim Cornette often puts it, thank you, fuck you, bye.